Our series opens in 2014 with Chemo as she prepares for an interview to secure a permanent position instead of the temporary one she currently holds at the company. She keeps rehearsing what she plans to say to the panel. We learn that Chemo's life is miserable and bleak, and the only light in her world is Young, her boyfriend, who never forgets her and sends her a message of encouragement. When she finally enters the interview, she explains how hardworking she is and how much she hopes they'll give her a chance to become a permanent employee. But in the middle of her speech, a pesky bee starts buzzing around her, circling nonstop, until it stings her right in the eye. She instantly passes out and suddenly sees herself in the future, looking exhausted, worn out, and a few kilos heavier. Her future self begs her to leave the company before it's too late, but present-day Chemo refuses. She has no other option, and unemployment rates in Korea get worse every year. Then, her future self tries to get rid of her because she won't listen, and when she wakes up, the panel is insisting on taking her to the hospital because her eye is swollen like a lemon. She insists she's fine and will be as good as new if they just hire her permanently. We jump to 2017, where she's still suffering under her boss, Hao, who makes her stand in a long line because he wants to taste desserts from other brands. He sends her out in the middle of heavy crowds while he sits comfortably doing nothing. From the chaos, her phone slips and the screen shatters. Hao calmly walks over with coffee and a dessert in hand, telling her to hurry because they're late for a meeting. She tries to stay calm instead of grabbing him by the collar. When they reach the company and get into the elevator, it stops because of excess weight. Hao laughs and suggests the two of them get off, but then he steps out alone and tells her to take the stairs up to the 14th floor. She arrives looking like her heart is about to give out. We cut to Juan, who works in another department of the same company. Her boss pitches a new product idea to the committee, but he gets caught stealing the concept from a Japanese brand. To save the situation, Juan steps in and suggests making significant changes so Korea can take the lead. Her enthusiasm convinces the board, and they approve her manager's proposal. Back to Chemo. She's chosen to deliver a sample of a new product to the CEO. When she enters his office, the room is empty, and she notices a massage chair. Thinking, "What's the harm in trying it?" She sits down, and the chair relieves all the tension Hao caused her that day. But then the power plug falls out. She becomes stuck, can't get up or down. And of course, that's the exact moment the CEO walks in. Shocked, she pretends she has basically died. Once he plugs the chair back in, she jumps up, acting like she was hiding to give him a surprise with the new product. She quickly places the sample on his desk and leaves immediately. Later at her desk, she checks her monthly evaluation. It meets expectations. Her face falls, and honestly, she has every right to feel disappointed. We move to Joki, the chilled-out girl who never takes work seriously. She's on a video call with her Chinese boyfriend when the manager suddenly appears behind her, so that average evaluation fits her perfectly. Back to Juan. She's doing her job properly, like any respectable employee, yet her evaluation is also average. Her boss and his assistant are worried she'll quit, not knowing she couldn't care less about the evaluation because her crypto investments are booming and she's expecting a nice profit at the end of the day. We learn that Juan, Joki, and Chemo are best friends. They meet during breaks or after work, treating themselves to good food to comfort each other after long days. Chemo leaves work looking disappointed, and after meeting her friends, they secretly follow her because they've planned a birthday surprise. Today is her birthday. We also learn she's upset because Young isn't with her on a day like this, and she hasn't heard from him in days. His phone is off, and he isn't home either. She finally decides to go to the police station to report his disappearance and starts telling the officer that on the day he vanished, the two of them had been as close and sweet as ever. He had stepped out to buy a corkscrew for the wine bottle and never came back. After that, she searched for him everywhere, but there was no trace at all. She starts thinking out loud with the police officer, wondering, maybe he fell into a deep hole? Or aliens kidnapped him? But when she calms down, she explains that during their conversation that day, she had suggested they get married since they had been together for a long time. At that moment, he changed, grabbed the corkscrew just as an excuse to leave, and walked out. From that point, the officer realizes he disappeared by choice. Chemo also figures it out. She thanks the officer and asks her to cancel the report, then leaves heartbroken. Back home, She feels even worse about being alone on a day like this. But suddenly, there's a knock on the door. Young stands in front of her, apologizing for disappearing. When they talk, he tells her he loves her, but he doesn't like the idea of marriage. He starts filling her head with worries, financial pressure, responsibilities, endless obligations. She can't bear to hear any more. He keeps insisting, and she snaps. She breaks the wine bottle in her hand, the only thing that finally shuts him up. She leaves him and walks away, but her friends are outside preparing a birthday surprise for her. Because they overheard the argument, they try to comfort her and celebrate with her, but she's too sad to react, walking alone through crowds celebrating Christmas, her birthday, while she feels completely isolated. The beautiful thing about her friends, though, is that they don't leave her. They stay beside her the entire time. While they're sitting together, Joki whispers to Juan, making sure Kimo can't hear, that she saw Young on the phone with another woman, telling her he had finally gotten rid of Kimo and was now free for her. Within minutes, the three of them are standing right in front of him because Kimo has his location tracked on her phone. They see him sitting in the car with another woman. After exposing him, and even stopping traffic in the process, Kimo throws eelfish at him because he's terrified of them. Meanwhile, Hao is in his own car nearby, watching everything unfold. Later, he tells his friend about what he saw, and his eyes show he's clearly impressed by her. Back to Kimo. Her friends insist she blow out the candles and make a wish. She's simple at heart. All she wants is a calm, peaceful life. That's her biggest dream. Later, as they wait for a taxi to take them home, Juan tries to convince them that crypto is the only real solution to all their problems. But Joki doesn't buy it and sees it as pure gambling. Either you win big or lose everything. Juan keeps explaining it's nothing like gambling. She studies the market, identifies opportunities, and sells at the right time. We see Juan only laughs when Kimo asks her to teach her how to invest like she does. The next morning, Kimo is in her mother tries to clean up the disaster of a room she lives in. She quickly realizes her daughter is depressed because her boyfriend left her. She reassures her that she deserves better than marrying a guy like Back to the present. Kimo is heading to work when she sees her co-worker Mahi getting out of her father's car. Mahi approaches her with a smile, stretching from ear to ear, and hands her a coffee, acting all buddy-buddy. Later, in a meeting with Hao and the rest of the team, Kimo suggests a name for the new product. No one seems convinced, but the second Mahi speaks and suggests adding the word delicious before it. Everyone suddenly loves it and credits the idea to her, even though poor Kimo was the one who worked hard on it in the first place. This always happens to her. Everything Kimo does ends up credited to Mahi. Not that it's Mahi's fault, but the girl is freakishly lucky. Most of the team is younger than Kimo, and they're all tight with each other, basically freezing her out. No matter how hard she works, they purposely make her feel like she's done nothing. Back to the meeting. Hao finally grows a conscience and announces that both Mahi and Kimo will be listed among the candidates for the next round of promotions. One of them, the annoying coworker, apologizes and casually says she forgot that she had already emailed John the file. Of course, she did it on purpose, just to bother her. We see Joki can barely walk from the pain in her legs, and her two friends support her from both sides. Later, as the next day. At that moment, Mahi walks in. Mahi is also presenting her own proposal tomorrow. She acts like she's not stressed at all. Mahi answers calmly, explaining that she worked on it and doesn't care whether it wins or not. On her way home, Mahi argues with her mom over the phone. Nearby, a homeless man sitting outside tells her to quiet down. When she reaches Owen's voice-activated assistant to scream for help, the police arrive just in time and arrest the intruder. Juan and Joki rush to her side. Kimo starts crying everything in the file from scratch. Her amazing friends reassure her that they'll stay with her until she finishes all her work. The next day at the presentation, Kao recognizes her immediately, remembering the girl who was beating up her cheating boyfriend in the street. After she finishes, because it turns out she's singing his song. We learn he secretly sings in a band, and has for years, but no one at work knows. No one at the party pays attention to her, except him. After she finishes, she sits with a new young employee who tries to comfort her, but also unintentionally shocks her by revealing the truth. Unlike the others, whose favorite orders she remembers perfectly, Mahi insists she never meant to upset her. As she walks away, she accidentally slips. "You'll be something big." That phrase triggers Chemo. She storms back toward her, ready to grab her by the hair. But Kao suddenly appears. Chemo runs off and decides to visit Juan at her house. She tells Juan that her crypto coin is rising. Juan checks, only to discover Chemo invested just $10, earning only a few cents. Juan explains that if she wants real income, she needs to invest real money, not loose change. They head out to eat at a fried chicken restaurant. And, while Chemo is sitting and enjoying the taste of the food, she suddenly feels a sharp pain in her head. We see Kao asking her where she learned the song she had sung earlier. Instead of answering, Chemo starts yelling at him. "What do you want from me? It's just a song. I like it. What's your problem?" When she tells him she's going home because today was simply not her day at work, he tries to encourage her, telling her to work even harder next time. He really shouldn't have said that, because she immediately headbutted him. That's when we learn that Chemo is actually extremely hardworking, and life has beaten her down for years. She's lived in all kinds of terrible apartments. One of them didn't even have a bathroom door. Whenever she stared at the bathroom at night, she felt like a ghost would crawl out of it. Eventually, she found her current apartment, the best of the worst. Tiny, flooded every time she showered, because the bathroom has no threshold, and the landlord keeps trying to raise the rent. Back to the present. Chemo still has no memory of who she headbutted. When she gets to work, she apologizes to Mahi, thinking she's the one she attacked. But when Mahi tells her she didn't even come near her that night, Chemo is left confused, wondering who the lucky guy with the injured forehead is. During a team meeting, Kao joins them, dropping hints about how aggressive she is and deliberately showing her the cut on his forehead. As soon as she sees it, she realizes she's the one who did that to him and becomes extremely embarrassed. Later, in his office, she asks him what her fate will be. "Are you going to fire me? Or keep me?" It even sounds like she's singing the question to herself. She warns him that if he fires her unfairly, she'll post everything online and tell the world her boss is a tyrant. Kao responds by reminding her that she hit him, and she still has the nerve to complain. She apologizes again, telling him she was not in her right mind and begging for forgiveness. Then we cut to Juan. During break time, she opens a tiny, mini boutique inside her office. She sells everything, even headache medicine. She runs it only once a week, and she had already taken revenge on Joki's annoying coworker earlier. That same coworker now shouts at Juan because she found stickers on her desk saying, "Pay what you owe." Juan doesn't deny it. She reminds her of all the things she took without paying and explains she's not running a charity. When the coworker hands her a credit card, Juan refuses it. She gives her her bank account number and tells her to transfer the money instead, basically giving her the same runaround she gave Joki. Meanwhile, Joki is having lunch with her coworkers. We learn that John, the assistant manager, is the one treating everyone because he's in love with her and trying to get closer to her. As they eat, her coworkers notice how focused he is on Joki, so they tease them both, saying they look perfect together. Joki unintentionally embarrasses him by saying she already has a boyfriend. Ashamed, John uses getting water as an excuse and gets up. Back to Chemo. She tells Juan that she told Kao she had a boyfriend, so Kao handed her 2 tickets to a concert. Juan explains that he only did that to test whether she was lying. Later, Chemo goes to view a new apartment she's planning to move into. It's beautiful and much bigger than her current place, but the rent is a little high. Most importantly, the bathroom has a threshold, which means no more water flooding the living room. While sitting at the station later, she thinks about the cryptocurrency thing Juan mentioned. She checks the app and finds that her $10 has turned into $40. Next, we see Juan, on edge, waiting desperately for it to rain so she can sell the umbrellas she bought. At the same time, Joki is getting scolded by her manager because she messed up the accounting and added an extra day to February, making it 31 days out of kindness. Her manager orders her to fix everything today, even though she has a flight to catch to visit her Chinese boyfriend, who hasn't replied to her messages in ages. She stays up all night fixing the work mess, and thankfully, John helps her finish before the deadline. Meanwhile, Chemo is preparing for the fake relationship act that Joki planned so Kao would believe she's taken. Then Chemo and Kao both go to the concert he invited her to. There, she gets shocked, because the singer on stage is him. Part 2. Not only that, his voice is beautiful, and he's singing her favorite song, the same one she sang earlier. The shock is written all over her face. He turns out to be her favorite singer, and she never knew. After he finishes singing, he embarrasses her playfully by asking her to choose the next song he should perform. He hints that he's curious about her taste in music. He performs the song she picks, drumming, full of energy, and the moment completely overwhelms her. He gets so excited that he throws the drumstick in his hand, and it ends up flying straight into the head of the guy standing next to her. After that, they all rush to the hospital. Once she sees that the guy is fine, he doesn't even want her near him. He's fed up with her and with the entire day in general. He leaves her and walks away. That's when Kao steps out and tells her that her taste is terrible, both in music and in the men she chooses. Then he leaves her too, but she doesn't let it go. She follows him downstairs. As she approaches him angrily, he steps back in fear, worried she might headbutt him again. She tells him firmly that he has no right to judge her taste. She admits he is intrusive and arrogant, but she does like his songs, and that's her personal opinion. Then she walks away. We move to Joki, who has already missed her flight. She walks out of the airport completely defeated. A man bumps into her, her suitcase bursts open, and her clothes scatter everywhere. John shows up and helps her pick them up. She starts crying, telling him she really wanted to travel and convince her boyfriend to stop cheating on her. The moment John hears that, he gets angry. Who is this heartless fool who's looking at other women when he has you? Then he confesses that he loves her and promises he would never hurt her if she gave him a chance. Later, as he drives away, he cries because she rejected him, since she doesn't find him handsome. She cries too when she hears him crying, and admits she's insecure and only likes good-looking guys. Back home, she talks to her boyfriend, who is clearly manipulating her, and convinces her he isn't cheating. Meanwhile, Chemo toughens up and invests all the money she has into cryptocurrency. She tells herself, what's the worst that could happen? Lose a little money? Everything's already falling apart anyway. The next day, she decides to rent the apartment she liked. At work, she gets into a tense phone argument with her mom. When she hangs up, she finds Kao standing behind her. He heard everything. She quickly pretends she dropped something and bends down to hide her embarrassment. We also notice his arm is in a cast. Chemo acts as if she doesn't see it at all. Since he heard half the conversation, he advises her to treat her mother better. She only cares about her. Chemo snaps back, telling him she's on her break and he has no right to interfere in her personal life, even if he's her boss. To annoy her, he pretends there's a scary bug on her shoulder, then walks away while she freaks out. We move to Joki again. Her eyes widen when she sees her annoying coworker wearing a very expensive ring. The coworker notices Joki staring and shows it off even more, just to irritate her. John, being kind as always, sees Joki talking to her Chinese boyfriend and speaks to him in Chinese. He tells him he's fluent and asks him to take good care of her because she's going through a hard time. He assures her he walked in to help, not because he still loves her or can't forget her, but clearly his face says the exact opposite. We return to Chemo, having lunch with Mahi. Another coworker asks Mahi if there's something between her and Kao, adding that they look perfect for each other, basically pushing the whole engagement vibe. We can see Chemo wants to drag them both by the hair. Then we realize she's jealous, because deep down she likes Kao, but she refuses to admit it. We move to Joki again. She's sitting with Juan, drinking nonstop out of sadness. She can't afford a ring like the one her coworker has. She cries endlessly. Juan can't handle it, so she calls Chemo to come help her. While on the phone, Chemo notices a man on the bus writing something on a piece of paper. This triggers a memory. She remembers being in a hotel room with someone and writing on his arm, but she doesn't know who he was because she was drunk. Suddenly, she receives a message from Kao asking to meet. Her heart drops. She's terrified he might be that man. She goes to the hotel he's staying in. After several security checks, like entering a government embassy, she finally reaches his suite. As soon as she enters, she realizes the luxury is worth all that security. She immediately unwraps the bandage on his arm to see if anything is written on it. It's clean. She relaxes, relieved that he isn't the guy. Then he shows her his other arm. She freezes. The writing is still there. You're mine, my national treasure. She's mortified. Once she calms down, she begs him to forget everything, explaining she wasn't conscious at the time. He tells her it's fine, just to end the whole awkward situation. We flash back to the real story. He was singing karaoke in a private room when he heard a girl singing his song in the room next door. He went to see who it was and found Chemo. They drank together until she wrote that ridiculous message on his arm. Back to the present, she begs him to forget what happened, because if anyone found out the two of them had any connection, they start to think she's greedy and that she only knows him for her own personal benefit. At that moment, he explains to her that when he heard her arguing with her mother, he stepped in because his own mother only cares about how she appears in front of people. She calculates every single move he makes, and on top of that, she doesn't want him to practice his favorite hobby, singing. She even wants to marry him off according to her own taste. He tells her her mother only wants what's best for her, and he actually envies her for that. When she leaves his place, you can feel her passion return, and this time she decides to invest a larger amount. Later, she sits with her friends and tells them that she invested $10,000 this time, and she dreams of becoming rich so she can take her mother to all the places she always dreamed of seeing. Everyone loves what she says, except for Juki, who doesn't care at all because she has her own issues with cryptocurrencies for reasons she still doesn't understand. Later, she tells her friends during a group video call that when she was young, she wanted to take part in a kindergarten stage play, but she needed to wear a white dress. At the time, her mother refused to buy it because she would wear it only once, and then it would be left aside. Sadly, she ended up playing the role of a tree trunk instead. Now we return to the present. Kim is in the lab asking the person in charge of the biscuit mixture to add certain ingredients to adjust the taste. And clearly, white is not her lucky color, because one of the workers stumbles and spills pure cocoa powder all over her sleeve. The two lab doctors ask her to wait while they get her something else to wear. At that moment, Kao texts her saying he wants to have dinner with her tonight. When she refuses because she has work, he reminds her that she refused yesterday and now today again, meaning she must be intentionally avoiding him. In the end, the lab doctor gives her the official factory worker uniform, and she's forced to wear it back at the office. Everyone is shocked, asking if she moved to the factory. She explains what happened and assures them she'll change out of it soon. After that, she goes with her colleagues to watch the filming of the company's new advertisement. Her jealousy is obvious. The girl standing opposite Kao in the ad is Mahi, who for some unknown reason receives many privileges in the company, even though she joined only 1 year before Kim. Meanwhile, Juki feels lonely at work because her entire team collaborates with each other and completely ignores her. They haven't even added her to their group chat. When Kim is in the office playing rock, paper, scissors with her team to decide who will sit at Kao's table during the company party, her luck finally works in her favor. Back to Juki and John, who, bless him, is chatting cheerfully with everyone, and he announces he will add Juki to their group. Everyone gets jealous and annoyed, but he doesn't care and adds her anyway. Juki becomes happy, thinking they willingly welcomed her. That night, Wu En and Wan help Kim prepare for the party, doing her hair, makeup, and giving her a dress that makes her feel like a princess. While she's getting ready, Kao calls, wanting to see her, but she refuses and reminds him that they'll be sitting together tomorrow anyway, so no one will get suspicious. The next day, Kao is excited to see her. He reserves the seat next to him, leaving a flower and a folded napkin on her chair. But as soon as she arrives, that annoying colleague of hers blocks her way, switches the seats, and tells her the branch manager wants to sit there instead. To make matters worse, Mahi receives an award, and so does Kim for being one of the 2 most hardworking employees. Honestly, no one understands why Mahi is always standing in Kim's way. Then things get worse. Frustrated and nervous, Kim tries to open a wine bottle, but fails and ends up cutting her nose. Blood drips onto her white dress. I swear, white is just not made for her. It betrays her instantly. At that moment, Kao appears. Embarrassed, she hides under the table. Kao, who doesn't care what anyone thinks, crouches down with her. He admits that it bothers him when she avoids him. Hearing his honest words makes her heart beat louder than the music playing outside. Meanwhile, her team sits at the same table and starts speaking badly about her, especially that annoying guy who says she thought she could sit next to Kao. But luckily, he switched the seats. He mocks her like she thinks she's Cinderella just because she wore a dress. Kao is seconds away from confronting him, but Kim stops him, wanting to hear the rest. When the table shakes, they sense someone underneath. They also notice the handbag strap sticking out. In her panic, she pulls it inward, making things more obvious. To avoid being seen, she and Kao lift the table together and run with it outside the hall until they're completely alone. There, Kao tries to encourage her, reminding her of who she truly is. He tells her she's not small or insignificant, and she doesn't need to be sweet to everyone. He reminds her how she snapped at him when she was drunk, even shouting at him in Russian, proving she is strong and capable of anything. She had played the role of a tree branch, completely sidelined on stage, while everyone ignored her. Her mother was the only one who saw her as the best girl in the world. Back in the present, she assures him that from today on, she will become a different person. She will change, and she will not allow anyone to shake her self-confidence again. We then move to Juan, who steps in to defend Juki after hearing some girls bad-mouthing her in the bathroom. She scolds the rude one while applying blush to her, and when the girl gets annoyed, Juan confidently tells her she did it on purpose, then walks away without caring. Meanwhile, Juki waits for her colleagues at the restaurant, where they asked her to make a reservation. Even though securing the reservation was nearly impossible, none of them show up. When she checks the group chat, she finds only herself and John. Everyone else left the chat. She immediately realizes what happened. When she walks out of the restaurant, Juan finds her and takes her out for a meal so she doesn't feel alone. At the same time, while Kim is walking with Kao, she receives a call from Juan, telling her to check her crypto app because their stocks went up. When Kim opens it, she sees her money has jumped by $800 instantly. She's overjoyed, and Kao watches her, saying that her genuine, unpretentious personality is the reason he likes her. She gets flustered, but secretly thanks cryptocurrency for making her look good in front of him. The next day, she and Juan are overwhelmed with joy. Their money has increased by $3,000. Because of this, they decide to take a 2-day trip to a coastal location. While everyone is excited and joking around, Kim suddenly notices that Kao is sitting at their table. It turns out she secretly arranged for him to join them, so they could all have lunch together as a group, so no one would suspect anything between them. Judging by the look he gives her, he clearly doesn't enjoy her matchmaking attempts. We see Juki and her friends delighted as they drive along the scenic coastal road, filled with calming natural landscapes. They later sit in a restaurant and practically order the entire menu. Seeing how happy they are, the waiter even offers them an extra dish on the house. While eating, Juki notices that Kim and Juan can't keep their eyes off their phones. Annoyed, she confiscates their phones, telling them this is supposed to be a relaxing trip. They decide to enjoy every moment, and they truly have a wonderful time. The next morning, Kim wakes up and asks Juki for her phone. Juki points to her bag, but the phones are gone. All three go down to the reception, hoping for help, but no one has seen the phones. Juki insists she can't find anything either, and tells them to continue their trip as normal, acting very carefree. She wants them to stop worrying. She's sure the phones will turn up eventually. In the car, she is the most excited of the group, while Kim and Juan are stressed because their phones are missing. When they turn on the radio, they hear that cryptocurrency investors won't be sleeping tonight. Juan immediately turns the car around, trying to find any cyber cafe or place with internet to check their stocks. She drives so fast that she nearly crashes into another car. Suddenly, she breaks down, hitting the steering wheel in panic. And at that moment, the phones fall out. It turns out Juki was hiding the phones all along, letting them search everywhere. She tells them she wanted them to enjoy the trip and disconnect from their devices. Juan snaps, telling her she's being irresponsible and expects everyone to be like her, playful and carefree, with no consideration that others need to monitor their money. She also points out that Juki isn't even ambitious at work and doesn't put in effort like Kim and Kao do. Her words hurt Juki deeply, and she walks away. Kim, worried, follows her, but loses sight of her. She tells the driver to take her to the mountain because she knows Juki had always wanted to see it. But when Kim arrives, Juki isn't there. The weather turns bad. The rain is heavy and visibility is terrible. When Kim calls her, Juki tells her she's nothing to them and hangs up. Kim doesn't know what to do. Suddenly, she slips and falls. Kao calls her at the perfect moment, and she tells him she's injured and stuck on the mountain. Shortly after, he arrives and finds her. On the other side, Kim finally meets Juki at the same place because they were both searching for her. They all head to the hospital, and Juan ends up being the one who gets sick from the harsh weather. At the hospital, Juki apologizes to her. She admits that everything Juan said was true, She cries, sobs, and breaks down so much that Kim jokes they'll scare the patients away. Won gently tells her she forgave her because she considers her like the daughter she lost in a kindergarten bus accident when she was only 5 years old. Juki is touched and tells her that from now on, she will listen to her advice, and she will also start investing in cryptocurrency. When the short vacation ends and they all return to work, Kim, as usual, misses the elevator, but Kao happens to be there and lets her into his private elevator. Inside, she tells him that they should start as friends first, so they can understand each other better before deciding whether what they feel is real love or just temporary attraction that will eventually fade away. She then asks him how he managed to reach her on the mountain so quickly. What she doesn't know is that Kao had been with them on the trip from the very first hour. He was just hiding himself so she wouldn't see him. We return to the elevator scene. As soon as the doors open, almost all the employees are standing outside, staring at them in surprise, wondering why they were together and what kind of closeness was happening between them. And that's it. This is where our series ends. So tell me, what did you think of the friendship between the three girls? And who do you think is the one who supported the others the most?